Will Wonder Woman 1984 be released this Christmas? Who knows? But let's discuss it even more so. Hey, it's me AB and welcome to another edition of the Saturday Movie Show. I hope you're all having a wonderful week and a wonderful Saturday so far in the day. And today I've got some movie news to discuss. It's the weekly episode of my movie content. So let's start off with the big hit of news. Wonder Woman 1984. So, as we know, this movie was due to be released earlier on this year, but we had the pandemic, and the pandemic is still ongoing, the coronavirus pandemic, and it has put the film industry in limbo. Now, Wonder Woman 1984, the second in the Wonder Woman franchise of movies, is the last remaining big blockbuster movie that is set to be released this year of 2020. And it is now questionable whether this will happen. Whether the release will happen. You know, it's been a big question mark over this movie for the past few weeks now, with cinemas closed across the world. Here in the UK, our cinemas are closed currently with the UK lockdown. I know in America some have reopened and some are still closed, and now some are starting to close again with the rise in cases with the coronavirus pandemic. So this has now brought up the question again, will this movie be released? It's kind of went a bit quiet around the release of this movie, not really hearing that much, but this week it has been reported by Variety 2 days ago. We've had this report, and I'm just going to read a quick quote from the article here. 6 weeks before Wonder Woman 1984 is scheduled to open in theatres on Christmas Day, Warner Brothers execs are considering whether to push the highly anticipated superhero sequel to the summer of 2021, or to keep the movie on its December 25th theatrical debut and then put it on HBO Max streaming service in early January, according to sources with knowledge of the plan. So, Wonder Woman 1984 in America, in the US, it's scheduled for Christmas Day release. And who goes to the cinema first of all on Christmas Day? I'd never think of going to. I don't think cinemas are open over here in the UK on Christmas Day, but apparently in the US this is a thing. Christmas Day releases. I'm pretty sure maybe was Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I know a few years ago that was either like the 20th or it was released on Christmas Day in America. But yeah, it's Boxing Day release scheduled over in the UK and a US Christmas release. What is interesting now is this article by Variety has been brought up that the execs at Warner Brothers are contemplating whether now is maybe the time to make that decision and making an announcement that we're going to change plans in regards to this release. So let's first look at the first option here on the table. You know, it's already been delayed, the movie. If we keep on delaying it, people are not going to be happy, but people are also very understandable with what's going on in the world at this moment in time. So delaying it again till the summer of 2021 with a bit more optimism to saying cinemas may be up and running, maybe more to a normal environment for people going to watch movies next year. So having a summer 2021 release at this moment in time probably seems like the most obvious move for them to make as a company, because this is what every other company are really doing. So that would be the first option. Let's move it to 2021 at a time where we potentially can release it. Now, the drawbacks of this idea is, I'm going to look at the negatives and the positives. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. If we move it to 2021, who knows what is going to happen in 2021? This virus may still be around. It may be the case in 2021, cinemas are not here anymore. We could be literally living in a world next year where a lot of cinemas are going bust, going bankrupt. I know AMC in America is very much like that. Cineworld over here has locked the doors, and it's questionable to say whether we will still have cinemas, or maybe we may still have cinemas, but we may not have the amount of cinemas we do at this moment in time prior to the pandemic. So releasing a movie at cinemas may not be the big top draw money making way to go for making money on this movie. So that's option one. And again, it could go one or two ways. Cinemas could recover by 2021. It could be a better environment for people, for moviegoers going to the cinema. So that could be a good option. But again, you've got the delays again. It's whether they want to delay it even more so. It's more money they're pumping out into the marketing of this movie. They might just say they want to get this released. They might decide that we're just delaying it, and it comes a point, as I've said in other videos, in regards to the way cinemas have been this year and movie companies releasing movies. I think it gets to a point where maybe you've got to make that gut wrenching all in decision where you say we're just gonna have to release it now, and whatever release way of releasing that movie is, we've just got to go all in on this because the movie is just getting delayed and delayed and delayed again, and it seems like inevitable that we're never going to release this movie at this rate because there's going to be some sort of other pushback as of next year. So it's some big decisions for Warner Brothers here because they could be at the front. They could be front runners in regards to saying, we're gonna forget about the virus. We're gonna go all in. We're gonna say put all the money on the table and say we're gonna go for the cinema Christmas release. Or they could just push it back again. And we know how it worked out for Tenet. They've not broke even on that movie as of yet, and they are scheduled to release that movie on video on demand and physical releases next month in December. So maybe they'll make more money from that, and I think they'll probably make a lot more money than they would do not in normal times of a physical release with Tenet, because a lot of people have not seen that movie. I've not seen Tenet yet because at the time cinemas were open over here, but I didn't want to risk going to a cinema at the time. So I think a lot of people will be in that boat where they want to watch Tenet over Christmas and they will either buy the physical release or they'll get a VOD release, a video on demand rental of this movie. So Wonder Woman's got some big decisions. As I said, the other path for Wonder Woman to take would be, as I said, they'd risk it, go for the 2020, the Christmas Day release, and then do a HBO Max release maybe like a week later, going into the new year. That's an option. That's an option that seems more likely. I think. I think. Personally, I would just do it the way they've done it with Witches. Witches was released on Halloween, and it was released at cinemas, available cinemas at the time, and then straight to HBO Max. The box office numbers of The Witches have not been great. What I've seen this morning, I've looked on Wikipedia this morning, so I don't know how up to date these numbers are, but I believe it's only made about 10 million at the box office. Doesn't seem that great in numbers, really. But it's not a Wonder Woman. It's not a Wonder Woman. It's not a big blockbuster movie. This one, it's I'd say a mediocre blockbuster movie, and it's going to be. You can compare it somewhat to that, but it's incomparable in a way because your blockbuster movies are the superhero movies now. So it will be interesting to see what decision they make. But I think they've got to make that decision this week. They've got to make it before we're hitting the end of November, December. They can't go into December with it all up in the air. I think it's my honest opinion. My 2 cents on this is I would go for the HBO Max release on the same day as cinemas on Christmas Day, or maybe Disney Plus have got the release of Soul on Christmas Day, so why not go HBO Max, Wonder Woman 1984 Christmas Day? People would love that. That would be, imagine that it's your first big streaming rental VOD film war begins. It's Soul versus Wonder Woman 1984. I think that would be great, and it's really if the film industry is going to have to go down this way of video on demand releases for the movies in the future, how big of a idea and how big of an event would this be? We have two massive movies competing on Christmas Day for viewership on Christmas Day on streaming services. I think this is the kickstart that the movie industry could potentially need. So I think that would be very interesting to see if that does happen. So keep your eyes peeled. I will keep on reporting on this and find out more information when I hear it online. But it is going to be interesting to see what happens with Wonder Woman. I'm surprised they've not announced something as of yet. I think again they're just trying to wait it out for as long as they can to see how long they can go without making any major moves in regards to the release of this movie. And it will be interesting to see if it's backfires on them or if it's a success for them, whichever way they go moving forward. So moving forward again, the rules of the Saturday movie show is there's no editing. And when I say there's no editing, I mean there's no editing. I'm not spending my Saturday evening editing out little coughs and sneezes and coffee slurps. So that's why now I am going to go and have the first coffee slurp of the Saturday movie show today. I've got my black coffee in my Darth Vader cup. I am your father, that's what he says. Now, I did an impression of Darth Vader last week, and I think it was last week anyway, and I didn't think it was that good, I'll be honest with you. So I want to improve on it this week. I didn't do the breathing, so Luke, I am your father. I think that was better. I think that was a better performance. Let's go. Let's go with some more movie news. I am a top journalist in the world of movies now, so I've got some reports to give you all this week. Right, so Peter Stormare, who starred in let's get to it. Constantine 2 has been rumoured to be happening. And it's been rumoured to be happening, and the rumour wheel has started by the star of one of the stars of the first movie, and it is Peter Stormare, who played Lucifer in the first movie. He put out an Instagram post this week, and it's a picture of himself in the Constantine movie, and it's Peter Stormare plays one of the best versions of Satan in film history. That's what the image is. And then it is wrote in underneath, sequel in the works to Constantine, which starred Keanu Reeves, and that was released in 2005. Now, first of all, what did I think of this movie? Constantine, the first movie, I watched it a few years later after the initial release. I had no idea about the character, what it was about. I didn't even know it was a comic book movie. I had no idea what it was. Watched it a few years after the release, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Keanu Reeves' performance in it. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a good movie, very different movie from other comic book movies. And does it deserve a sequel or some sort of follow-up? And I think what's interesting here, first of all, this movie was released in 2005, and this was off the back of Matrix. So the last Matrix movie came out at the time, Matrix 3, and it was like a year or two later, Constantine came out. And this is at the time where Keanu Reeves his name is starting to dip a bit. I think people weren't happy with the last two Matrix movies, and his name value kind of went down. So, move forward several years, Keanu Reeves is now the name again. It's been the second coming of Keanu Reeves, or the third coming, if you like. If you have the 90s and then the 2000s, and now the 2000s, late 2000s and 10s, 20s, whatever you want to call it, with John Wick. I would be very intrigued to see him take that role of John Constantine again in either a follow-up, a sequel to Constantine, or maybe a Justice League Dark movie, or maybe just feature him within the DC universe in different roles as John Constantine. So I'd be very much for that. I don't know whether this is just rumoured, maybe it's just an actor trying to make a bit of buzz on the internet, but until anything is official, I'd take it with a grain of salt, really, this idea of a sequel. But it's nice to speculate about it and discuss it. And I would like to see a Constantine 2, or as I said, Keanu Reeves. I think, like I said, his name value now. Why would you not want him? I bet you DC, Warner Brothers executives are looking at Keanu Reeves and they're saying, wow, we would love him to come back into the fold as that character, but really expand that character more so, and maybe even reboot the character in a way, just to get him involved in the franchises. Because DC is starting to look a bit more promising on the movie front now. I think DC for a few years was trying too hard to practice to do what Marvel was doing. And we all know Justice League was a rushed mess. Forgetting of obviously everything else that happened behind the scenes with Justice League, it was rushed. It was a rushed movie. The idea is they wanted to have the big Avengers movie to compete with the Avengers as soon as possible, and they rushed it. And it was a shame, because if they just gave it time and built up the stories the way Marvel did, they could have had something really special. And maybe they will have something special with the Snyder Cut. Maybe that will, it's had more time and more time to breathe, more creativity has settled into Zack Snyder's head, and he wants to create the vision he wants to now. Maybe that will be the case where we get something a bit more special than what we did see with Justice League, the initial release. But to have Keanu Reeves returning to DC as John Constantine, and maybe feature him within future franchises in different roles, even if it's just like a little small part, that would be a big coup for DC and for Warner Brothers. And I certainly can see something like this happening. I think it would be very exciting to see it, and it's the idea now. We don't have to have all these movies linked together. They can be linked by different Earths. That can be the way you do it. The same way Marvel is doing it with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. You don't have to have every character included in the same universe. They can have different universes, and that's what makes it really a fun watching and entertaining aspect of watching these sort of comic book movies now. Is they don't have to be interlinked, but they can be interlinked in a way. And I would be very happy to see Keanu Reeves return into that role as John Constantine, and I think it would be very exciting. So, in other news, also linked to, while I'm on the topic of DC movies, we've got this week, Zack Snyder was on a fan podcast by the Nerd Queens, and basically on that podcast, he went on the podcast and teased Martian Manhunter, and he got his phone out and briefly shown what he looks like. So he is going to be featured in the Justice League Snyder Cut series and movie, 4-hour movie cut version now, and that hopefully it will be, over the past couple of years, General Swanwick, his character, I think is it Harry Lennox, his character in that, the General, has often been teased, and they've always said his character will most likely be Martian Manhunter in the end. So that'll be very exciting. I didn't realise that character was going to feature in Justice League. I'm a big fan of that character. I really enjoy. I don't know if anyone's read the Stormwatch comics, graphic novels. I've read them. I've really enjoyed his character within them, and I'm excited to see his interpretation and see what it looks like on screen. Martian Manhunter in a big live action movie. I think that'll be very, very cool. Also, in other news reported on Screen Rant this week, Chris Pratt is going to be returning as his character Star-Lord in Thor: Love and Thunder. And we've seen this tease at the end of Avengers Endgame, him and Thor, the Guardians and Thor, linking up. And Vin Diesel has then, in an interview a couple of years back, he sort of said they will feature in different movies. So maybe we'll get Thor in the next Guardians briefly, and maybe this will be just a small cameo for Peter Quill in Thor 4. So I'm excited by that. I think the chemistry on the screen, the comedy chemistry was great in Avengers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing his character feature in Thor number 4, and that'll be really good. Apologies for my accent. I do get this a lot, that people can't understand me when I say Thor if I pronounce CHs. I can't I think it's my accent. I've got an accent where a lot of people can't. I can't really hear the 4. So when I say 4, it just sounds like the number 4 every time. So I am saying 4 as in THOR. Just point it out there before someone points it out that I can't pronounce CHs. I can pronounce them. It's just my accent. I do apologise. So that's all the movie news for this week, and I just want to talk briefly about what I've been watching this week. I've watched Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn movie this week. I put it off watching it when it was initially released. It didn't really look like my cup of tea. It just looked a bit too... I don't know, it just didn't click with me, the trailers. I didn't fancy it. I watched it this week. It was okay. I didn't think it was awful. I didn't think it was amazing. I didn't really, in all honesty, I didn't really like Harley Quinn's character in that movie. I enjoyed her character a lot more in Suicide Squad. I thought her character was more likable. In this movie, I found her character very unlikable for some reason. And like I said, the movie was okay and it was watchable. Her character was watchable, but I found her more unlikable. The character, not the actress Margot Robbie. She's obviously a fantastic actress, but her character in this movie, I found it really kind of unlikable. And her character will be featuring in the Suicide Squad 2 movie. I hope James Gunn makes her character more likable for me in that movie, because I didn't enjoy her character in this one. I just thought it was really it was like a lovesick puppy for the Joker, and then it's like I want to be free, and it was just, I don't know, I didn't click with me, the character. And I enjoyed aspects of this movie. I thought the villain by Ewan McGregor, the Black Mask, was really good. I hope he features again at some point, maybe in Suicide Squad. But yeah, the character didn't really click with me, but the movie was okay. It was watchable, and I'd recommend watching it. If you're into your DC movies, superhero movies, definitely give it a watch. It's worth the watch. So thank you very much for watching this video today. If you do enjoy this channel, please do give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the notification bell for more movie-related videos. And let me know what you think of all the movie news this week. Do you think Wonder Woman 1984 will be released this Christmas? Let me know your thoughts as well. Let me know your thoughts. And also, just a quick one, if you want to support this channel more so as well, you can click on the Amazon affiliate links below. If you click on them links and purchase something through those links, a small percentage of the sale will go to supporting the channel and supporting growing this great community we've got building here. So as I said, let me know your thoughts on the Wonder Woman 1984 release, and even more exciting, what do you think? Keanu Reeves as John Constantine in the DC universe. Will we see it happen? Let me know your thoughts, and thank you very much for watching.